All right. Of course, I didn't put this on the stand before I started talking to you, but Shadow and I were both talking about forgiveness. Certain people that you have to forgive somebody who has done something horrible to you. And, I think I'm pretty sure we talked about this last, what was that, Friday night? But, when I was telling people, I think that people have lost the ideas or the understanding between release and forgiveness. Okay? Like, sometimes rape victims blame themselves. And I read this study about it. And they were saying that if you could blame yourself, then maybe that would make you feel like you had some control in that situation. Because some things that happen to people, they never ever get over. And it was literally a coping mechanism to blame yourself for some really horrible stuff that somebody may have done to you. And what I'm coming to find out, it's a little bit strange to me. And I don't know, maybe it's because we just didn't get information like this when we were young. Okay? But this, I don't know, we didn't get to talk about a lot of things. And it was really funny because it was after, what was that? What revolution was that with the hippies and all of that, Sexual revolution, the social revolutions, the civil rights movement. And I don't know, we kind of floated through the 70s on some shit. Maybe we were tired or whatever, but I know that my childhood is very, 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 very different than some of these childhoods that we're witnessing and perpetrating, for good or for bad. But we talked about, there are things, and the way that you keep from, right. No, the only people that talked about that was me and you. Nobody else talked about that. No. And here we are, little kids. But the grown-ups want to, that's one ass whooping my Aunt Harriet gave me. Because you know how they had them swinging doors between the parlor, well, these are old houses, and the dining room. Mm-hmm. Some family tragedy had happened. We had lots of them in the 70s. I don't know what kind of juju was being worked in the 70s. But, no, because adults wouldn't talk to us about it, but it's clear the energy of your surroundings are off. Mm-hmm. So kids, I eavesdropped, and I heard them talking about a situation that one of the things is the most horrible that could ever happen in your family. But, of course, wanting kids to be kids, they didn't want to talk about it. But I'm nosy as hell. They used to call me ringleader. That was my nickname. And I'm leaning against the door, to listen to this conversation. Because I'm trying to figure out what in the world is going on in this house. Where did all these flowers come from? Mm-hmm. And something happened. My Harriet must have got up and pulled and yanked the door open. I fell out onto the floor. And we were just talking about, Tupperware and Avon. She had an Avon brush, and those were no joke. She broke that joker on me for eavesdropping, But that's how you find out, and unfortunately, as a very young child, somehow, some way, you find out some really harsh truths, and some people find them out in ways that are way more horrible than others. And so, the idea, when we see these people that were shot in church, or somebody kills my kid, somebody kills any one of us, and that includes real allies who are out here really doing something. That's going to bother me, and I am concerned because kids don't really have to eavesdrop anymore, and people want to talk about the higher diagnosis of certain mental illnesses are, but when when you treat people, the numbers are going to go up. That's not to say that the young people that I grew up with were any less damaged by the things that we saw, and treatment's great when it works. Sometimes it's a combination of mental illness, sometimes it's a spiritual issue, sometimes it's both. It takes somebody, you have to really be trained to figure out, if a person, what kind of help they need. That's probably one of the hardest things about this type of work in the community. But, people, it's real to want revenge. I mean, we wouldn't have a word for it if it wasn't real.
Right.
We wouldn't have a way to articulate it if it wasn't real. So it has to exist. And for some people, they don't have peace until they have revenge. It's different levels for everybody, but this idea, this whole absolution of wrongdoing that's called forgiveness, I don't even think that exists. Do you honestly believe that is for real when somebody says that?
I think it's possible to forgive, but I don't think anybody should tell you that you have to.
How do you forgive stuff like that? Like what we were talking about. How do you forgive that?
Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. That's what a lot of people keep in mind. But you can. You let go of it for you. Like you said, it's more of a release.
Right.
It don't mean that person going to be part of your life.
You got dictionary.com on your phone? I want you to look at the definition. I deal with words. We had this one person come to our house and tell us that she spoke in baby talk. And we were like, and it's like, then I read something later about communication with child spirits that kind of was in line with what she was saying, but at the time it was like, okay. But what I do for me and what works for me, which really doesn't have to work for anybody else, because I told somebody on my wall the other day, well, Liz says, blah, 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 blah. No. Let's talk about this. I explain magic in ways that have worked, traditionally book-wise, and some of the things that have worked for me. But I'm not taking it and rapidly changing it into something else. And so that's why I'm thinking this whole thing about release is being confused with forgiveness and being called something else.
Okay, in reading this, basically what it's saying is release. But they're saying with an increased ability to wish the offender well. That part,
boom.
So it's not forgiveness.
Bingo.
It is just
you might release it, but that's when that person...
What I wish you is not to be part of my life.
Well, I wish that you would be eliminated from all life. I can wish you dead and be okay with that. Mm-hmm. I can wish you dead and not even feel rage.
So yeah, because that last part, I'm sorry, no.
It will always be my wish of the people that do very bad things to people, that they have very bad things done to them.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, leave folks alone.
Right.
But, I've read several articles about people telling you, don't make your kids hug and kiss your relatives if they don't want to. Right. Take it as a sign, because most kids are loving. Children who are held and kissed and from birth and have that.
When you do that, is you take away their choice.
Right.
And even in situations where they're feeling like, you know what?
Children have the best instincts in the world. When you're a kid, and that's why it's sad that a lot of us were indoctrinated into other religions when we were small kids, because there was a lot of undoing we had to do.
Yeah.
But that when you got your, it's I don't know. It's like, I believe we are entertainment for the gods because it's a trick. It's a ISSA, a trick, because they are creating these scenarios for us to work our way out of. It's a very interesting
That's
thing.
some of the books that I let go before I said fuck it and this is who I am.
Right.
It's like they gotta go.
Right. There's a lot of stuff, you've seen people like Doreen Virtue, they can't just get away from it. So much to the point where they revert all the way back to the beginning. And that's a severe level of indoctrination. But see, I had to think about this because as much as we want to say that we are not like Christians, I think all parents, if you can look up the definition of indoctrination, we all are passing on what we believe is right and true to our kids, which is why I'm worried about future generations of these racists. Because they're pumping that same thing into their kids. The thing with food in the United States, you cannot easily conquer or oppress people if they are in good health, mentally and physically. So when you start feeding them food meant for aliens, and we start dropping off by crazy numbers with these diseases that only affect us.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that stress is a very, very big killer. And one of the things that I've been told is I got to learn how to meditate. I've done it before. I did it when I would get migraines. And I could astrally project. I'd sent my ass to Hawaii, okay? I'll never forget. I was gone because of this headache. And I was sitting in a chair at the airport asleep, but I was in Hawaii. And some little badass toddler ran across my feet and woke me up. Now, I can forgive him of that now. At that particular time, I was in pain, and I wanted to hurt said child. I swear if he ran back by again, I was going to trip him. My battery is about to die. But now I don't have any desire to trip that little boy. That's forgiveness. I hope he grew up to be a well-mannered young man. That's forgiveness. But you can't do that for everybody and everything. And if y'all saw the way that Black Twitter dragged R. Kelly today, it was...
Oh, did
I'm sorry. I'm a human being. I'm petty. I almost fell out my chair straight into the pit of hell when I laughed because dude was like, oh yeah, they shut him down for running a preschool without a permit. I was just like, God damn, that's got to be the coldest. I mean, like, when you mentally work your way around that statement, what you're saying here is, it's like, oh my God, that's horrible. It's horrible. But so appropriate when it comes to his behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Is that wrong? Depends on who you ask. I appreciate a good dragon. Because I've watched people who are actually really great individuals, hey, Sophia, get dragged for no apparent reason. That's when I have to step in and say, whoa. I know you're not finished, but let me say something here. I'm going to do a Kanye. Bitch, what you talking about? But what I find is if you do that, like, off of your page, it will consume your day.
Yeah.
I'm
like,
not
to get dragged
exactly. We're not going to do this today. We're going to scroll. We're going to reverse some of these stress-borne illnesses that we are given by ignoring the fuck out of crazy people. What we know as Black people is that we should always look out for our safety.
Mm-hmm.
And that's never been a bad thing to do. But, there's some stuff that I've had to release because I cannot stay emotionally embroiled in it, even though there's a reason why I am. But sometimes, in order to keep your sanity, you just have to be like, okay, I can only process so much of this. And that's exactly the effect that it's meant to have. So, you have to think about how much I got really offended at work today, my day job. Really offended. And I just was like, I'm sitting here thinking, how much joy am I going to allow this person I've never ever met, who I don't understand what's going on with this, kill my joy and make me, off my square when I ain't doing anything. You gotta find a way to release that, not stay angry about those things. Microaggressions, things that we deal with on a constant that are often challenged, and we are told that we are not experiencing them, which is called gaslighting. And I think with mental illness, with our generation, I think we had a lot of that come from our parents. You ain't depressed. You just need to go lay down. Like Kevin on stage said, everything was lay down, lay down, lay down.
But something to eat.
Right. You just need some of this chitlins right here. You need some of this pot liquor. Come on over here, get them ham hocks. There's some things that can't be, and that's one thing we found out the hard way too. There's some things that can't be eaten away. Some things that you can't insulate yourself against. And so, but yeah, I think that one of the things that's really freeing, especially about leaving an Abrahamic religion and moving into another religion, that where you're taught like realistic principles, not, forget, turn the other cheek. No. We got ways for dealing with folks like that. That's what our religions tell us. We have ancestors, we have spirits. I have people that will take care of that, especially if I take care of them. Yep. But I'm going to go because my phone is about dead, and I'm going to go to bed at a decent bedtime tonight. But, me and Shadow got to talking again, and I was like, we really need to talk about this with people. That's some certain things, because I know there's people out there right now who are watching this who hate themselves because they have not been able to forgive someone who brutally dehumanized them. And there's a lot of ways you can do that. So, just trying to get people to release at a lot younger age so that the high blood pressure and the diabetes slows down. Because that is exactly what it's designed to do. Okay? Woosa. Good night, y'all.